Hi Lauren, how did you become a student?
Well, I've worked within Shropcom now for 3 years, and I got given the opportunity to do the apprenticeship route to go on to do occupational therapy. I did originally have, I have got a degree in sports therapy, which I did sort of almost 10 years ago now, and then I had a couple of years out of working within sort of sport, had time for a family, had some children, 2 children. And then I just went into being an assistant practitioner because sort of the sports therapy degree wasn't sort of recognised within the NHS, so I started working as a rehab technician within the community, which I really loved. And then I went for the assistant practitioner role, which became available after sort of being within the trust for about a year. Felt really sort of supported and everything by my team at Whitchurch. They encouraged me to go for the assistant practitioner job, so I got that role. Really enjoyed working sort of between physio and occupational therapy, and then the interviews come out for the OT apprenticeship, so it's quite a nice way of doing it because I can still, I'm still there at home when I need to be at home. It's not as full on and as as like being at uni every day of the week. So I do that at Coventry at the moment, but it just allows to still have quite a good work-life balance, so sort of family and everything like that.
How many days a week do you do?
It's 2 days at Coventry, so it's still sort of full-time work, some 3 days at work and then 2 days for Coventry Uni. So it's still sort of nice that it's in the working week, it's not taking up too much sort of additional time. And sort of I'm 1 semester in now and I'm finding that it is manageable. There's lots of support at work as well for me, and it's very different comparing the two. Sort of being at uni full time doing the sports therapy degree and then actually being like supported through your degree while still working. It's a very different approach, but it's really good because everyone's there on hand to ask questions to and help, and that extra support's there.
How long is the apprenticeship?
2 years. Yeah, 2 years.
Better.
Yeah.
It's not as long as 3, is it?
Mine's 4.
Is
4
it?
years.
Oh wow.
And you're doing physio apprenticeship?
Yeah, so actually I've got the same background as you. I did sports therapy degree, and then I went into the trust as a rehab tech, and then literally after being there for a year, the apprenticeship came. Well, they said, do you want to do it? Is it something that interests you? And I said, yeah. So went for it, and now I'm going to be going into 3rd semester of 1st year. But so it is 4 years, but again, it's not having to go back to uni full time. It's only 1 day a week, and it just works better for me doing it that way. So
I think it cuts a lot of like the cost out as well, which is another big thing for me really, to go back and do a degree. I've got small children as well that I need to be able to provide for, so sort of coming out of work to go back to full-time education wasn't really an option, so I was quite surprised when these sort of roles started coming out that was a way around it really, to go and get another qualification.
I think a lot of people have gone down the apprenticeship route now. It's a lot easier.
The fees are a lot more, aren't they?
Yeah, and there's less education. I mean, for the likes of us that have probably been out of education for like 10 years plus, it was a weird adjustment to come back. But I find a lot of people do the apprenticeship and really enjoy it.
So I started the degree. I'll be doing 4 years as well because I did the foundation year first, and Chelsey did as well, I think.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so 4 years with the foundation year as well, and then 3 years full-time degree. I'm really enjoying it. My dad was a mental health nurse and he suggested I should become an occupational therapist based on my personality. So I looked into what that was, and I like the thought of keeping people independent for as long as they can be, and encouraging them really to live their best lives. But yeah, previously I've worked a lot with children. I have children, so I've worked like little part-time jobs in like retail and nursery nursing and things like that really. So I already had the interest in sort of care with working also as a healthcare assistant in a hospital. And so I wanted to put the care and the children kind of together really, and become an occupational therapist really. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it actually. I find being a mature student is actually really quite nice, and you get a lot of more mature students in healthcare. So yeah, it's been really, really nice. So yeah, new lease of life, if you like, because my son will be 12 when I graduate, so he won't need me quite as much. So yeah, it's good for me at the moment. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
So mine's similar to Claire. I've had mental health background, a lot of autism, adolescents, children, not so much adults, and then I moved on from mental health and went into physical health and a lot of dementia. And I really enjoyed it, and so I was stuck between mental health nursing and occupational therapy, and I chose to do occupational therapy because, much like you, I wanted to keep the independence, do anything to provide for what they do at home and to keep them at home, and not try and interrupt their life too much. And I think I chose the best route. I'm really enjoying the course as well. It's a lot easier than what I think. I think a lot of people think 4 years or 3 years is really daunting, and they have finance issues or they just life issues, children issues, work balance issues, and they kind of think, oh, I can't do uni, or I'm too old for uni. And in reality, you're not. There is a lot of mature students in our cohort and at university, and some of them are like, really enjoy it, and they think that they're glad that they made the choice as well. And I just think sometimes you've just kind of got to take the risk, and it will pay off. And I don't know anyone that's said they wish they hadn't done it, and they're all happy for it, and they encourage everyone to do that.
Everybody's really supportive. All the lecturers on placement, the placements are lovely. This is my first placement, but I'm really enjoying it. It's going too fast. I like that mix of being on placement and doing the physical work and sort of doing the theory as well. The theory
behind it.
Yeah. So,
is there anywhere you want to, well, either of you or all of you, on like specialise in your OT once you're qualified, or physiotherapy once you've qualified? Is there an area?
I'm not sure yet. I think once I start placement, I think towards the end of this year.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, so I haven't done one yet. So I think once I start going on placements and have a real feel for it, because obviously at the moment I've only done community, that's all I know.
Yeah.
And then like a little bit of MSK when I was doing sports therapy. So I just want to see what I enjoy most when I actually go and do it before I make any decisions. But
yeah, I think that's the same for me as well, really. I've mainly focused on physical health throughout, like younger, more athletic people when doing sports therapy, and then mainly with elderly people since working in the NHS. But I think definitely just being able to, I think, you know, going on like rotations and just getting different feels for different areas, which is all obviously available to do, obviously at the end once you qualify. So I think definitely sort of like paediatrics and mental health. I've never had any experience in mental health, so I think it'll be quite interesting to be able to go and
mental health's really
well.
interesting. It is. It's a different, you see things differently from that point of view, and I think also when it comes to physical, it counteracts. So if there's something going on with someone mentally, it will have an impact on their physical. And I think a lot of the physical, that people that are used to physical and haven't got the experience of mental health don't see that. But when you've worked in both, you kind of see both aspects and how much it affects someone's life. And it's good to have the basic knowledge of both. I think you'd really enjoy the mental health side of it.
I'm looking forward to that.
I think placements are really good because you get to work with the other professionals. So I've done some shadowing with physios in the MSK clinics and things, and you can learn from each other and the different teams. Everybody's really supportive. It's really nice. So I like the multidisciplinary team working. So it works for me because every day is not always the same. I like the variety and like it's not always the same placement. So you'll be going on a mental health placement. You'll be going on a physical placement. You might go on a paediatrics, community, hospital. There's such variety. I think it's good. You'll never feel stuck or bored. There's always a different environment that you can experience and different people to work with. I think it's good.
Definitely.
I mean, obviously the cost of living.
It's impossible at the minute, isn't it? It's really difficult.
But I do find that there's a lot of support out there. I mean, for me personally, I don't mind talking about it. I do have dyslexia, so I get a bit of extra help and support with that. So I get a study skills mentor and so you get a bit of financial help with sort of like printing costs and things like that as well, and the computers and stuff. I find actually if you ask, there's a lot more support than you will realise, definitely. Yeah. It's a really good, supportive network world that we live in these days, I think.
Yeah, I think it's just exploring them options, like you say, isn't it?
And having the confidence to be like, I'm finding this tricky, and getting sort of assessed for dyslexia or whatever it might be.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I think that's quite good though with like the apprenticeship that I'm doing, because it's not like my finances as such aren't really affected, because I'm still sort of contracted to a full-time job, so that takes, you know, a lot of the worry and a lot of the stress out of actually going to uni. I'm not in any sort of debt or sort of financial difference to what I was working full-time. So that's quite good.
Yeah. I do find though, as a full-time sort of degree student, you can sort of say the summer holidays is like 3 months long, so you can get work in, and you can sort of you can get around it really. Yeah, definitely.
And you see so many different things all the time. It's not that same sort of
like clinical environment.
Yeah, it's a different day every day. Yeah. Sometimes you don't really know what you're walking into, but it keeps it nice.
I think it's nice as well to be able to work with people in their own home environment, and I think that sometimes does help with their rehab, because some people, you know, it's quite daunting if you're trying to do things on a ward and it's a busy ward and there's not much space and it's not like their home. So, you know, if they can walk from here to across the room in a ward, it doesn't mean they're going to be able to do that at home with like thick carpets.
Yeah, you see a bit of a truer picture at home, don't you?
Yeah, and it's just, I feel like you get that little bit better of a rapport between yourself and obviously the person that you're working with. You meet the family, it's just a bit more personal. You know, you're
more relaxed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot more relaxed and natural.
I think as well, they've got their own stuff in their own home, haven't they?
Yeah,
I think I thought about becoming a degree level student for far too long and worried far too much about being a mature student. And just do it really. It's not as scary as you think it's going to be. It's actually really lovely. The first day might feel like you're 5 years old again and your first day of school, but actually once you're over that initial walking into the room, it's fine. It's good.
I mean, I'm the same. I thought about it for too long and wasn't sure, do I do it, do I not, will I be able to cope, am I going to be able to do it, am I going to be clever enough to do it, and I think actually doing it is the hardest part, is just convincing yourself to do it. Once you're in there and you're doing it, you kind of just get on with things, you ask the questions, and it kind of just flows. The more you're being taught, the more you're in lessons, the more assignments you do, it comes easier than the first one does. I think you've just got to just get on with it, just do it, ask for the help that you need. They are really helpful, really supportive, and they do understand that you are an older student, but they also understand that if you haven't technically got the life skills, if you're coming straight from college, and they can help you with that as well. And I just think they're very supportive with how they teach you and what they do.
Yeah, I think from like an apprenticeship sort of perspective as well, we get like a mentor at work, so we get a lot of support there. We're sort of learning whilst we're doing it as well, so we can go and shadow our senior OTs and sort of see it firsthand, which then makes it a little bit more easier. The theory you're learning, you can see it out in practice at the same time, so I think you get it's quite an advantage to go and do that really.
Yeah, I do a lot of joint visits, as many as I can. Like, oh, do you mind if I like just jump on that one? And just so like you can pick their brains and just have that extra bit of understanding, like you said. Yeah.
I think as well it's quite important. My line manager, she's always checking in with me, and you know, we had a lot of assignments due, and she was like, do you need to take a couple more hours just to focus on that? And they're really flexible. If you're struggling, or you know, if you need that little bit of time, a bit more support, then they're really hands-on. They want to help you, and it's really flexible, which is really good.
I think if you've got the right sort of family and friends support as well as at uni or on your sort of work-based apprenticeships, I think anything's possible, really. I mean, my dad just retired, so he looks after my son quite a lot. But no, I think with the right family and friends support, then it's achievable.
Yeah,
it is.
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, when I applied for the apprenticeship role, it's to go straight into a Band 5 occupational therapy job within my team that I'm in at the moment, so within community therapy. And they're hoping to have that open as a rotation. So when the first sort of cohort of apprenticeships come through, we should be open to go on rotation, which will be really good. And obviously I can get a different feel for different aspects of the job then. So I think it will be to work the rotations for a while and see what sort of, I mean, I can't imagine myself leaving my team because I love it where I am. So, you know, it will take something special, I think, to want me to go elsewhere. But I think it's definitely, you know, a brilliant career opportunity to go and see and work in these different things. And you might think, I really like that, don't really like that. And it narrows it down to what you want to go and do, really, for full time.
What about you, Chelsey?
I don't know. It's really hard because obviously I really enjoy the rehab side of it and the placement that I'm on at the moment, but I have spent some time with the neuro team and that's really interesting, and the function of the brain, the memory, different things that affect it and how it affects it and what we can do to help with it. So that's something that I want to explore, whether it be a placement or a rotation. And also paediatrics, something like that as well. But I was talking to one of the community neuro OTs, and her best advice was to just go on the rotations and just see all the different angles, the things that you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, what you're good at, what you think you need improving on, and where you want to focus your career and where you think you can help people the best in, and an interest that you're going to have to make the extra mile to help the people with their life, really.
I think for me, I want to work with paediatrics. I particularly enjoy how resilient children are, and like you think, gosh, some of them have got, I don't know, like cerebral palsy or like all these things that people might perceive as problems and difficulties, but they just get on with it. They're playing in the sunshine, they're still riding a bike, they've got a smile on their face and they're giggling, and it's so infectious, and I just get lots of joy and happiness from working with children. But also within working with children, there's also like lots of different things you can do. You could do learning difficulties, you could do physical difficulties, you could do early years, you could do mainstream. So like there's still a big sort of pool that you can work in, which is really interesting, I find. So how about you, Lauren? Long term?
Yeah, I'm not sure. So yeah, I'm actually one of the first apprenticeships in my sort of team to go and do it. So I'm sort of hoping by the end that there'll be a rotational post, just so that I can go get that experience. Because as much as I love community, I still do want to go see other things and do other things, but don't really want to leave. A bit like you. So yeah, just see where it takes me, really. We've got another 3 years yet, so plenty of time to make up my mind. Yeah.
It will fly by.
I've got to admit, I quite like crafting, and apparently in mental health you spend a lot of time sometimes crafting. I like that kind of idea.
You do.
Pom-poms
building things and making things.
Yeah. So there's lots of things out there, isn't there?
Yeah, I think that's the thing, because you're such a diverse career and diverse in everything. Like we have a bit of physical, a bit of mental, a bit of like learning difficulties, a bit of children's. You've just got such a variety of things that you can experience and you can be helpful in. It's so hard to pinpoint where to go with it, really, because it's just so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.